I'm just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Brian Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player. And there you are, the Chicago Bears with a championship defense. And Mitch, I'm sure Dancing with the Stars is happy to have Antonio back. If you thought you were going to get Zion, that's your bad.
You are now listening to Open Season. Your host, Billy Allen.
And away we go. It's another Tuesday on the Open Season Show. I'm your host, Billy Allen, sitting here with Justin Allain. Brian Murphy produces the show. You already know the deal. My God, Tom Brady, he actually had the balls to do it. No longer a Patriot. Tom Brady is Gone, gone. And we're talking about all of it. Who are the winners and losers? Who else is going to be joining Brady? Is Antonio Brown, his old friend, going to be joining him on the trail to Tampa Bay? And whose fault is it that Brady left New England? Do you like rooting for Brady? Do you like rooting for the Pats? We may touch on free agency. The Texans made another terrible trade. But in all honesty, let's be real. We're going to just be talking about Brady. And Justin, I guess I'll start with this. Was the market for Brady, was it real? I mean, did he have a serious market? It feels like at the end of this, it's a little bit cheap. It doesn't seem like he had a robust market as we thought that he had.
I honestly last week didn't think there really was a market, to be honest with you. The Chargers obviously were always in it. The Raiders, I heard today that they were waiting to hear back from him. I don't think he ever took that serious. If someone had told me 2 weeks ago that he would be signed with Tampa Bay, I obviously would have laughed in their face just because it's Tampa Bay, like it's the pit of football. So, yeah, it's a sad day. It is a sad day because he's been here for 20 years, greatest athlete ever in Boston, and he's now going to Tampa.
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with you. I think even when we sat here last week, we still poo-pooed Tampa Bay as a team. We still said, yeah, Tampa Bay says they're interested, but so what? It's still probably going to be the Chargers. It's still probably going to be the Titans. And we got the first wave of news that, that Tannehill was signed. Did you ultimately think that was – because, I mean, when you sat here last week, you had talked about how you would get the two of those guys, Tannehill and Derrick Henry, but – do you think Tannehill was going to go for $30 million at the end of the day?
I think they're going to regret that contract very much so.
Yeah, before the ink dries.
It sounds like an Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco type contract that he played well in the playoffs. He had a couple good games, but he wasn't the offense. Derrick Henry was the offense, and take Derrick Henry out of that equation, you get a below-average quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was a lot of the play-action pass, a lot of that made Tannehill good, and I think he clearly caught lightning in a bottle. I was shocked that they signed him to that. That was really the first domino to fall. And then you start seeing some of these other moves. It seems like the Patriots kind of shored up. When they made the move to re-sign Slater and to re-sign McCourty, I kind of started to think maybe Belichick's trying to sign some of the old guys in the room, try to keep the room while he transitions on to another quarterback. For you, what do you think was it that triggered that you ultimately knew Brady was going to leave?
I mean, it's been a roller coaster the past couple of weeks, up and down. There's been a week where you're thinking, okay, he's coming back because you thought that the market really wasn't there. And then this weekend, just hearing more and more stuff that Patriots hadn't heard from him. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm 100% surprised. I definitely am a bit surprised. Overall, it's just, with everything else going on in the world today, it just put a nail in the coffin for Boston fans.
It was snowing out when we got up, and then the news came right as the day started. It was like 9 o'clock, and bang, there's Brady.
Can't go to a bar, have a car bomb. You got to do it inside, and now it's no Brady.
Yeah, so there really is no medication that can that can help you for this, because it's a tough one. And, at the end of the day, it's going to be Tom Brady versus Belichick, and it's going to be, we kind of get to see the two GOATs against each other. Yep. So I think that's going to be interesting. And we have, I think it was Belichick that ultimately pushed Brady out, and I don't think I'm saying anything too crazy there, but we have a little bit of sound of Stephen A. Smith talking about the Brady versus Belichick dynamic.
Because you're all over the place. In the end, here's what it comes down to. When you're talking about Tom Brady, if the New England Patriots, specifically Bill Belichick, if I believe, this is my personal belief, nothing else, if he were treated better by Bill Belichick and not treated as just somebody that, you're just another player, as opposed to a 6-time champion, the quarterback who has led this franchise to 9 Super Bowl appearances over the last 19, 20 years. If he was treated as such and acknowledged in that fashion, I don't believe that Tom Brady would be departing from the New England Patriots for next season. I don't believe he would have said goodbye today. I think he said goodbye because as much as he loves Mr. Kraft, at the end of the day, you're dealing with somebody in Bill Belichick who, by all accounts, is a phenomenal coach. Nobody's questioning that. But his interpersonal skills, his unwillingness to sit up there and cultivate a relationship with somebody where you're elevating one above others, I think his inability to do that, to use the phraseology, kiss the ring per se, and obviously he doesn't have to because he's a coach.
I think we pretty much get the idea there, yeah. But I mean, how much do you think there is to that? Do you think that if Belichick had sat down and said, Brady, we want you, do you think that was really what Brady wanted from this team?
No, I don't. I think that his mind was made up when they didn't offer him that extension. Like, they did it 2 years in a row. He wanted the guaranteed contract. He wanted more years, and Belichick said no. So he was the one that put the clause in to say that he wanted to test free agency. It wasn't Belichick that did that. At the end of the day, I think Belichick, would he been happy to keep Brady for another year? Of course. Do I think he's the most upset person in the world that this is coming to an end? He can kind of start fresh without Brady. I don't think he's that upset about it.
Yeah.
I think he wants to build a team from the ground up and win one without Brady.
And I was just going to throw the number out there. Let's go to the phones. Who do we got?
What's up, fellas? Whitey from Queens.
Whitey, I know you are probably grinning ear to ear. How you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm in like quarantine from the coronavirus, but I can never be happier.
20 years of misery for your Steelers.
20 years. Oh my God, 20 years. Like, you know what it is? Like the Patriots brought this on themselves, dude. You see that Stephon Diggs was traded to the Bills. You see that Hopkins was traded for pretty much, like a kind of washed up David Johnson. It's like Brady. I think as soon as those deals went through, I mean, it's not a coincidence that Brady announced he's leaving New England. He sees that these teams get these two. Imagine Diggs or Hopkins with Brady on the Pats, right?
That's what we wanted. We didn't get it, unfortunately.
You'd think it was those moves right there that signaled he was going to be out?
Dude, he announced he's leaving New England like right after those deals went through, and like we're like announced to the public.
See, I think it was a planned out. I think this has been planned out years. I think this has been planned out since last year when he didn't get the free agent. I think this has probably been like a year in the making. Did he know it was going to be Tampa Bay? No, but I think that he's known that he didn't want to be with the Patriots. But you think it was like that kind of stream of up until that moment, Whitey?
It's tough to gauge like the Pats like sincere interest in Brady. But it's just the time. You can't ignore the timing of it, that he announces it right after, like, stud wide receivers get moved to different teams. And the Patriots could have easily made those moves.
So
right?
do you think, Brady didn't tell Belichick, go get me these guys, go get me an elite receiver and I'll sign. Like, they weren't even communicating. So if you're Belichick, you're going to trade the farm, all of our draft picks. We don't have that many to begin with because we traded a second-round pick for that crap bag Sanu. You're going to trade, because Buffalo got a lot for Diggs. I mean, Minnesota got a lot of picks for Diggs. And the Hopkins trade, that was just dumbness on Bill O'Brien's part. I have no idea. If that was the trade, give them James White in a 4th-round pick and let's make it happen, because that's essentially what they got. But the Diggs trade, they got a 1st round, they got a bunch of picks. But if you're going to trade all those picks away and you don't know if Brady's even coming back, and if he doesn't, you're rebuilding, it's kind of a waste.
So what did the Texans get for Hopkins besides David Johnson? What they get?
I think it was picks.
Round?
I think they got a 2nd round and a 5th rounder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, by that measure, the Patriots could have easily gotten Hopkins. I mean, the Texans, I have no idea what the hell
So
the Texans
you think,
are doing.
Whitey, so in other words, you think if they had gotten a Hopkins or a Diggs that Brady is back with the Patriots?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean,
So you think it was that close? Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they were that close. I think that this has been years in the making. I don't think that they were anywhere near with the offer, and I think the fact that they all came out today and prepared statements kind of brings that to fruition.
Yeah.
It's like
that is true.
they
that
were doing
statement
everything
from
in
Bill
lockstep.
Belichick-
It was
Yeah.
so fake.
You can't tell me that Belichick wrote that piece either.
Oh.
That was some
Yeah.
of those words, and did he have to go into the dictionary and look some of these words up? Get the heck out of here. And
That statement from Belichick was written. It looked like they've been preparing that, writing that statement for the last 3 weeks.
And if
it
Belichick
was so perfectly well put.
Brady wanted to hear for the whole time. Even you watch that ESPN or NFL Films 100 Greatest Players, and Brady's on there, and he's talking about how good Brady was. He could have just said right then and there, Brady's the greatest of all time. He's never said it until he wrote it in that piece today. And that's why I don't believe that came from him. I think that came from the
Yeah, he
Krafts.
couldn't even physically say it. He needed it written down.
Yeah.
I think his mind was made up a little while ago. So that Jeff Darlington guy on ESPN went on a couple weeks ago and said there is a 0% chance that Brady's coming back. And everyone laughed in his face, but he's been so close tied with Brady the whole time.
Yeah, who is Jeff Darlington? Because that guy
He's
has
like
been
the
so
Brian Windhorst of the NFL.
Yeah.
He ties the best.
He's going to
athlete.
get a job now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy just made some money with that prediction.
But I know Steelers
He
looking
was the
pretty
one
good
who
now.
kind of got to. Yeah, I know the Steelers. You guys don't have a whole lot of excuses now.
Yeah, I mean, we do have Patrick Mahomes to face against.
Oh, well, it's nice to know you're already working on crafting them. That's nice.
No, but I also I just think that this has been the craziest 2 weeks in sports and probably in the history of mankind. I can't imagine. I would say World War II is maybe the only comp where you had star athletes enlisting in the Marines and fighting in Germany. I think that's just the only time sports have ever been this crazy. But you have coronavirus, then on top of that, Tom Brady leaves the Pats, and then all these crazy and Cam Newton's on the trading block now. This is absurd.
Yeah, I
don't understand why there's no interest in Cam Newton.
Well, I like the news. They report that Teddy Bridgewater is coming in, and then they also say that Cam Newton's not happy. It's no bleep, He's probably not going to be happy if you bring in a guy for.
How would anybody rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Cam Newton?
I might want him moving forward. I think Cam is kind of broken, but let's see when he's fully healthy.
I mean, he's still pretty young. What is he, 30?
Yeah, but Cam Newton, I think he's the best. He is MVP level when he has his legs too. If he's not that mobile anymore, his passing isn't very accurate. He's not a dynamic player. It's what's his name, the rookie or MVP this year. Who won the MVP this year?
Oh, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, when he can't run anymore, how valuable is he going to be? He's not the greatest passer in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think Cam before he got hurt, he was doing really well, in North Turner's offense. He did actually improve his accuracy and his short reads. So it's just I think it's just injuries. So it's why not take a flyer on Cam Newton, who's literally an MVP not too long ago?
Yeah.
He's still young. I get the injury concern, but no one's concerned about injuries when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, in the draft. He just broke his hip a month ago.
I think they're more worried about his fashion, his hats that he wears in the press conferences, and
I knew that was not going to be a good fit in New England.
Yeah, I'd love to see Bill Belichick when he comes in with his big green hat to a press conference,
looking like some bird or something, with all that crap hanging off of him. He looks like a old woman sometimes with his get up on.
He's basically the Russ. See, this is like a perfect comparison. Like Cam Newton is basically the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. Like,
He kind of is.
So
like just completely absurd fashion style, yet probably one of the more
A physical beast,
ridiculous
too.
athlete. Yeah, physical athletic specimens. And you look at Westbrook, like before the NBA like suspended the season, Westbrook was like doing really well. He kind of like reinvented his game a little bit. So why couldn't Cam, reinvent his game in a different system when he has all the tools? He's one of the best athletes at the quarterback position. He's got probably one of the best arms. He's still young, so he's not slow, and he's not slow yet.
Well, hey, let's have you make a prediction before we let you go. Where do you think Cam ultimately ends up, Whitey?
Ooh, that's a tough call. Like honestly, I don't know. As a Steelers fan, I would love to replace Roethlisberger with Cam.
Ooh, yeah,
I would love it.
That'd be a good fit because they're kind of the same type of quarterback, really. I mean, Ben's more accurate.
Yeah, and Roethlisberger now has an injury. He has an injury history, right?
Yeah.
He basically had that picture. He basically had a Tommy John surgery for a quarterback. So it's I don't even know how well he's gonna be able to throw the ball. He's 38 years old.
Yeah, I am not expecting good things out of Big Ben. Big Ben's going to be about as effective as the quarantine in Italy. But anyway, we appreciate you touching in from long distance tonight, Whitey. Always appreciate your thoughts, especially when the GOAT sounds out of Foxborough. But
I do want to, before I leave, I do want to actually wish you guys I have kind of a sympathy for you. I mean, you're the most spoiled, rotten fan bases of all time. But knowing how I felt when Jeter retired, I do kind of feel that for you. Not having Brady back.
We appreciate that sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way. When Jeter retired, I was pretty much devastated. I mean, I knew he wasn't the same athlete that he's always was, but I assume you're probably feeling the same way that I felt. So
I'm sure you still have the tears that you cried. I'm sure you have the tears that you cried saved somewhere.
Yeah, I wish you guys could have had a better send-off for Brady, honestly.
It was kind of unexpected. It kind of punched you in the face.
Definitely.
And
totally.
Hey, man, well, we appreciate you. And, good stuff out of Whitey, touching in from Queens tonight. But unfortunately, I think the Pats are thinking about still doing pretty well, although a lot of people think that they're going to be knocked out of contention here. They're still leading the AFC East in terms of...
I wanted to say one thing, though, about Cam Newton.
Oh.
I have a team I think he's going to go to.
Who?
The Redskins. Because they're going to draft Chase Young with the second pick. They don't love, what's his name, the rookie that they drafted last year. Redskins are stupid. They'll give up.
I can see the Bears maybe taking a chance at him.
Bears, too, yeah. I think those are two good teams. Dolphins, maybe. There's a couple teams out there looking for a quarterback, but there's not a chance in hell that he comes to the Patriots.
Would you rather sign Bridgewater to a 3-year $63 or Cam to a 3-year $63?
Neither.
Yeah.
I'd like them both on a 1-year deal.
Yeah. I know. For me, I think Teddy Bridgewater's getting a little too much there.
I wanted Bridgewater here if Brady left, but not for that contract.
Yeah, that contract, I feel like they're going to regret that because he's not a star, and they're going to...
But he was, though. When he was on the Vikings, he's not a star, but he wins. He's like a Garoppolo.
He wins games.
He's not going to pass for 400 yards every game, but he wins games.
I remember the Cleveland Browns did that study. They paid $150,000 or whatever to get some consultant to tell them who to draft, Manziel or Bridgewater. The consultant told them to draft Bridgewater. They still drafted Manziel. I always loved that story.
They're a great franchise. They do smart things every year.
Just chucking money away. And they chucked a little money away in free agency. They actually got some pretty decent signings. But, I think in terms of the Tom Brady stuff, do you blame Kraft at all in giving up the leadership to Belichick, or do you think that's ultimately the best move to trust in Belichick?
I think he learned his lesson with Garoppolo, and I think you also think he learned his lesson with Parcells back in the day. not to step in. Because say Brady leaves and then he pisses off Belichick and he leaves too. What does he have? He knows that he's got Belichick for probably, 3 to 5. 5 probably max, but at least 3 years. You have Brady for 1, maybe 2. If they both leave, you're screwed. You need Belichick to run this.
All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Open Season.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, what's going on, Torti?
Not much, man. Wow, what a wild day.
Oh.
Can't say I didn't see it coming, but what a day.
I know. Snow, unbelievable. No, it's crazy. We're dealing with the Brady thing, and I mean, you never thought you'd see this happen if you're a hardcore Patriots fan. It's really tough for all of us. How you dealing with it, Torti?
I saw this thing coming for weeks. Let me tell you, Billy. The writing was on the wall. You could see it in Tom's eyes when he was courtside, and Edelman's like, he's coming back, and Tom just looks at the camera and just goes, no, he's not. Him and Belichick were far off. Brady's been taking discounts his whole career for the Pats. You know, it's because he wanted to win, right? You know, it was for no other reason. It wasn't like, he needed to stay in New England, this, that, the other thing. It was because he wanted to win. So he sacrificed for the team, and when it was time for the team to sacrifice for him, they said no one's above the team. It was as simple as that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like the model that they've always used. It's like Brady kind of broke the system. He's the only one who's been good enough long enough. And, Kraft has kind of talked about it before, about how you try to get consistency and you can only maintain it for so long. And it's like Brady's he's continued to push the envelope. So that's brought on some unique challenges. And it's amazing that the greatest player ever, that there's no appetite to try to keep him. It's quite frankly, it's embarrassing.
It gets to a point,
yeah,
though.
it is. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, it kind of gets to a point on the other end, too. Like, he is 43 years old, and he got $30 million. Like, do you want to pay him $30 million?
No, I don't want to pay him.
Especially with this roster. Like, this roster is not – the offense is not very good.
Fair.
True.
Fair point. If I'm the Buccaneers, I pay him that money all day,
absolutely.
every day.
Oh,
I think he's about to have the best statistical season we've seen from a quarterback in a long time. I think 5,000 yards. I'm thinking 50 touchdowns. I'm thinking Tom is going to be vintage. I'm thinking they might even bring Antonio Brown in there and just give him the best wide receiver corps there's ever been.
I think Antonio Brown's a package deal with Brady. I think he's definitely going to join him there. So
after he misses 10 games with
that would not surprise me at all. And then to have that receiving core, Evans and Godwin
and the tight end.
And I mean, oh my God, it's going to be interesting because Bruce Arians kind of runs an offense where you're chucking it deep, and Brady hasn't really thrown the ball deep. You throw the ball deep and get hit a lot in Bruce Arians' offense, and I just wonder if Brady can kind of throw that deep ball at this stage in his career. You think he's still got it, Torti?
I think he's still got it, but I think that they're going to limit the shots he takes. The other thing is he hasn't had the receivers to throw those deep balls to in New England. All he's had is Edelman to throw those little short dinkers, and Gronk, obviously. Who have they had to throw those deep balls?
Just Moss.
Moss.
And when he had Moss, he was the best. It was unbelievable. And you saw his velocity. He posted in the offseason last year. He's still throwing the football over 60 miles an hour. Some of the top arms in the draft are throwing only a few miles an hour over Tom. And then by arms, I'm not talking about accuracy. We're just talking about velocity here. And Tom is whipping that thing out, probably faster than he was when he came out of college. So I'm not worried about that. Here's what I'm thinking. The Buccaneers still had $60 million in cap room as of this morning.
Yep.
You bring in Tom Brady, you eliminate $30 million. That leaves you $30 million to build around Brady. They've already got the great wide receivers. They've already got a tight end who I think is being underutilized due to Jamie's inconsistencies. And I think that we're going to see O.J. Howard have a great year, Cameron Brate have a great year. We're going to see, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin continue doing what they're doing. And I think that they're going to probably bring in a veteran running back like a Melvin Gordon, put him in the backfield to take some of that pressure off Brady. first and foremost, Melvin Gordon's a good pass blocker, so he's going to help out in that regard, and he's going to be able to pound the rock because you can't lean on Ronald Jones. You think Ronald Jones is going to get the job done? Because I certainly don't. And then, so we're looking at Melvin Gordon at $8 million. We're probably looking at them getting some offensive line help. Probably spend anywhere from $5 to $10 million on the O-line to shore it up a little bit more because that was definitely not great last year. And then we're probably looking at Antonio Brown, probably in the neighborhood of $8 million as well. So right there, you're looking at about $26 million. Leave another $4 million to sign all their draft picks for this season, and it's go time.
And you think that's a Super Bowl squad in the NFC, Torti?
Absolutely, my friend. I think that roster, I can't wait to see Tom meet Bill. He's probably going to end up beating Mahomes. Let's be real here. I don't think the Pats are going to make it this coming year unless something insane happens. But I think we're looking at Brady and Mahomes matching up.
And
in
the Super Bowl
year,
is in Tampa.
Will be an all-time great.
Yeah.
It's in Tampa?
Yep.
Yeah, it is in Tampa.
That's what I was saying today. Imagine if Brady wins the Super Bowl in Tampa, then he just retires. He's got 7.
After taking all that
he
money.
gets 7, and he beats Jordan with 6, and he beats Mahomes, and then he says, I'm out.
Well, Torti, you got a lot of great stuff. What do you think? We'll leave you on this. What do you think the Pats are going to do for contingency at the quarterback position?
See, I think that we're going draft, baby. I think we'll probably bring in a veteran, just to kick the tires. We'll probably bring in some guys for some workouts throughout the off season too. Belichick's trying to prove how smart he is. He wants to show the world that he can win without Tom. And I think Tom wants to show the world he can win without Belichick. I think we've got two guys who are both respectively the best that have ever done it, really, on both ends, coach, quarterback. And they both want to have their solo act. It's kind of like being part of a band. So I think Bill is probably most likely going to bring in a quarterback through the draft, develop a kid, and he's going to be the one holding the reins for the Pats for a long time. I think he's irrelevant. I mean, he got his shot, and he didn't show anything really when he got his shot last year. They had to pull him and put Brady back in. I don't think that you're going to see Stidham, carrying the torch for Brady. I think that's ridiculous. I think that most likely we're going to be in a situation where we'll bring in a veteran like the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
Oh,
maybe.
Don't make me queasy.
Yeah. I know. I'm getting queasy, but I don't think Andy's going to get. I think that they're bringing him in for competition. I don't think that they'll bring him in for a real. Everyone's going to get a shot in New England. The best player plays.
Yep.
They're going to bring in some sort of veteran. I've heard Foles' name getting kicked around, which would make me really, really uneasy if they brought Foles in here. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, too many turnovers for Bill.
Agreed. So it's really. I think Bill wants to prove how smart he is. I think he wants to bring in either someone that we would never expect and give them the reins of the offense, or he's gonna draft a kid and just develop him himself. Probably someone in that 23rd overall pick. I mean, they've got a first-round pick. Why not use it on their biggest position in need, which is now quarterback, and bring in someone for the future, like a Love or an Eason, maybe Tua drops. I mean, I don't think that any of the big three quarterbacks are falling outside of the top 10, but I definitely think that we should have a good shot at Love and Eason at number 23. But we'll see. Belichick will probably end up picking some no-name in the third round, pick Jalen Hurts or something. Show us an offense that never even existed before. Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you touching in tonight. And, man, rest in peace, Brady. On to bigger and better things.
In peace. I will always love Tom. Forever.
All right,
man. Thank you for the time, guys.
Hey, thanks for touching in.
So instead of just continuing to go down who we find with Brady or who would be the successor, Brady left today obviously, and can't forget about the fact that what he did for 20 years and for not just for the Patriots but for the city and everything. You go back to when we were in 7th, 8th grade when Brady won his first. And he was this no-name guy, and he led us, and then he was the guy. And he played with some of the crappiest receivers and made them good. And he's always been like the role model of any athlete and you'd want your kid, to look after. He works hard. He does everything the right way. He's a good person, and he's just time after time proving people wrong.
Yeah, and I think he has that legacy of he always took less and he played with crappy receivers. Like, people always do that thing where they can compare and contrast who Manning had, and it was like they had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, all these guys that were Pro Bowlers.
And it's crazy, too, to think, like, the dynasty, the first probably half of it, 10 years, was more Belichick than Brady, I think, personally. Like, the defense won that. Like, Brady came up clutch in the Super Bowls. But, like, he was doing 28-14 every year, maybe around 4,000 yards. And then the second half, after he won the MVP, and, like, we do 38 touchdowns, 4 picks.
It was like after he got, like, hurt.
Yeah, he just became this, like, he just had the second wind, and he was the best player in the league where everyone thought he was the system quarterback, and then he just took over.
Yeah, I agree, because in the beginning it was almost like, is Brady going to get the stats to be good enough to, it's like he's got the championships. Will he actually get the individual performance? And then it was like, in the second half, he completely got the individual performance, and then he stacked trophies on top of it. It was like he completely went from this guy that when he first took over, he was like 2,800 yards and like 20 touchdowns, 14 picks, to throwing for 5,000 yards. And
it's crazy, too, in the biggest game, especially in the second part. Like, the games I'll remember the most, probably, obviously, the Falcons and the Seahawks one. But that Chiefs game 2 years ago, that was, like, in the fourth quarter and overtime, it was just, like, precision. Every
Nails.
pass, like, dimes everywhere. And you're thinking to yourself, holy, this guy is 42, doing this against the best team in the league. And they said there was no chance we were going to go in there and win, and we did. And the look on the field, like, afterwards, he's jumping on people's shoulders. It's like, this guy can do it. He can just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
It doesn't matter the stage. It doesn't matter if they're down 28-3. It doesn't matter. There was another regular season game against the 49ers. I don't know if you remember that, where they were down like 3 touchdowns in that game. They almost came back and won. But there's been so many games where they've been down, and so many times where Brady's come back and been like the vigilant one.
But you think, too, at the last game of the year this year, they need a touchdown. I forget how much they lost by before they threw the pick 6. We're on like the 5-yard line with maybe 40 seconds left. Deep down inside, you're like, he can probably still do this. At 43, because he's done it so many times over his whole career, and you'll never, ever get that again from any quarterback. On a consistent basis.
No, he set the complete mark. He set the standard of what a quarterback is, what a quarterback should be, the longevity of a quarterback, how to prepare, how to treat your teammates, everything.
How many times have you listened to that John Madden clip in the first Super Bowl? He's like, I would call a timeout here. Like, I'd go to overtime. And then Brady comes out and leads us down the field.
Oh, I know.
It's like, oh, my. And this guy was a rookie that year.
Oh, I know.
But he did it at Michigan, too. Everyone doubted him. He got benched, and then he kept winning. It's just...
He was the 8th quarterback at Michigan. He had to go through like 8 guys. And then even still when he got his chance, they were still playing that guy, Drew, whatever the hell.
Drew Henson.
Drew Henson over him.
Yep.
They were splitting games. Split in halves. Whoever was better.
It's just been such a fun ride, and to think the past couple of years too, it's been the icing on the cake. Like after the Seahawks Super Bowl, we had Garoppolo, and you're thinking he's going to retire. He's going to fall, like Max Kellerman, fall off the cliff, but he's going to slow down. He was still doing it at MVP level. Maybe not last year, but that's more so the weapons he had.
The Philadelphia Super Bowl, he threw for 500 yards.
It's just remarkable. And you'll never see it ever again. I mean, Mahomes might do it.
I don't even think Mahomes is going to do it. That long, that consistent, that threshold of winning. I mean, it's never going to be touched, I don't think. I don't even think. I mean, Brady is the guy that's playing the longest, and he's going to make it, 23 years? Nobody's going to make it that long play, especially at the quarterback position. And being effective for that long, I mean, Warren Moon was like probably the best quarterback deep into his 40s, and it was like because he played in the Canadian Football League or whatever for half of his career. So, I don't know. Brady is completely set the standard on what a quarterback should be, and we are completely going to miss out on.
It's like whenever you see Brady, especially later in his career, like he's this soft, nice guy off the field, but when he gets pumped up in a game, starts screaming, and he gets a first down and pumps the fist, you're like, oh my God, like this guy is so into it, and he loves football. Like this is what he loves to do. Like when he's out there, he's a different person, and he literally carried us for so many years.
He did. At the years that they had Rashay Caldwell and
oh God, we had the year before we got Moss and everybody when we lost to the Colts in 06.
Yeah, it was Rashay Caldwell,
David Givens, maybe. No, I think he left before that. It was guys.
But Rashay Caldwell was the leader in yards that year with 750 and 6 touchdowns, and I mean, how many quarterbacks would play through that without putting up a stink while Peyton Manning is across the sideline having Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and whatever tight end they had?
But and the other thing, too, is like I don't think you don't see – I know someone mentioned earlier people burning Brady jerseys. You're not going to see that because he's earned to do whatever the hell he wants. If he wants to do that, I'll be rooting for him all year. I hope he wins this year.
Especially with the way the Patriots negotiated with him. I feel like everyone looks at it.
It's not even that. Honestly, he's the greatest athlete to me, like, ever, like, at least in Boston. And he's done everything the right way. And his back's always against the wall, and he always overcomes it. He's doing it for 20 years. If he wants to take on another challenge, it might not even be that he doesn't like Belichick. It could be, hey, I want to win one without Belichick. I want to go to another place and do it myself.
Think of this challenge that he's taking on. At 43, he's deciding to move all the way down to Florida. His family's up here in New York. He's going to learn a completely different offense, meet a totally different coach. He's going to have to get there early. He's trying to win without Belichick. I mean, think about how much this guy is always looking for challenges, for ways to motivate himself, all the way to the core, all the way to 43. He's like, well, I'm sitting on my laurels here in Foxborough or whatever it is. Needs another challenge, but
like honestly,
found one in Tampa Bay.
The greatest athletes have that. Jordan had it. Kobe had it. I think Tiger had it for a long time before he went nuts, but. The athletes that always he always thinks back to draft to the 199, that pick, like that always has driven him to that someone's going to take his spot.
Never thought it would be the Tampa Bay. You just thought it would be something a little bit snazzier. The Chargers, the Titans.
I mean, personally, would he rather go to like Dallas or? A better organization like even the Giants have a good foundation. The Steelers have a good foundation. But look at the Buccaneers' offense. They were 4th in the NFL in points per game last year with Jameis Winston.
Yeah, their quarterback was blind and threw the most turnovers.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had Tom Brady. And the one thing that I think when Whitey was calling in earlier about the deep passes, Tom Brady likes to throw a deep pass. Tom Brady does not throw a great deep pass. Like when he had Brandon Cooks, the amount of times he overthrew him or underthrew him, he's not the greatest deep passer. Like, I'm just being honest. That's
but
one thing.
That did get us a million pass interferences, though.
Exactly. That's what he was good for. And that's why I think Bruce Arians said to him, we'll run your offense. Like, because O.J. Howard is going to have a phenomenal year because tight ends always do well in the system.
Well, you got to give the Bucks a ton of credit. They came out and they said right out of the gate, we want you. We'll do whatever it takes to get you. They did everything to position themselves. It's kind of like an interview. You do everything to get the offer. And they showed up at the door. They said, hey, we're willing to take your offense on. We're willing to probably bring in Antonio Brown and whoever else he wants to bring in. But they were there from the gate, gave him $30 million. I mean, you've got to give them credit. They went out there. They did what I would have thought a week ago would be the impossible. For Tampa Bay to land a guy like Tom Brady, that's the biggest thing that these Tampa Bay fans are ever going to feel. I mean, they don't even care if they win a Super Bowl with Brady. Getting Brady is a Super Bowl for them.
I mean, half of them are sleeping during the day because it's like elderly people. But, I mean,
yeah,
this is going to, I bet you the season tickets are already, I mean, maybe not in this economy right now, but they're going to go through the roof. Brady is going to drive them to 2 years. Maybe he even goes for 3. Who knows? But I'm happy for him, and I hope that he wins another one because, and maybe, you look around, this team, Patriots team, I don't see them winning this year, even if he was here. They didn't make any changes. We haven't signed anyone. We just lost our 2 best linebackers. Like, what do we have? We don't have no young good players.
Who are you rooting more for, Brady or Belichick?
That's tough. Selfishly, Belichick because I'm a Patriot fan, but I want to see Brady win one more. I think Brady gets one faster than Belichick, but I think Belichick, potentially get 2 more.
Do you think Brady would have to get that championship pretty much this year?
Probably.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like he has. I don't know.
And like, you're the Chargers, right? You're facing Mahomes twice a year. Like, what?
Tampa Bay.
Now you're going around that. The NFC South is not as good as it used to be. Drew Brees is still really good, but he's 40-something. Matt Ryan, the Falcons are falling apart, and the Panthers now just lost Cam Newton. So it's a much easier path.
And especially the fact that there's now going to be more teams in the playoffs, and usually in that division, 2 teams suck every year. Like, Atlanta will randomly suck, the Panthers will randomly suck, whatever.
Yep.
People always think after a good year, Atlanta's going to do well again. They always seem to not do well against expectations. So it is a pretty decent path for Tom Brady, but I would think that he needs to get things moving quickly. And is he able to put in that much extra work? Is he able to be the 22-year-old Brady at 43? I mean, the guy that comes in early, the guy that stays late.
Well, the difference now is Giselle is hanging out on the beach in Florida instead of wherever. It's okay, honey. I need to go to work. Oh, it's okay. I'm going to go to the beach. It's fine. I don't think she really loved living in New England. Like, I think her heart is set somewhere warm. She have a house in California, obviously, but I do think he's going to put the time in because he's going to need to. He's got that drive again. I need to prove everyone wrong yet again.
I know.
And he's going to do it yet again.
And it's amazing that the best quarterback in football ever can still find ways to do that. You would just think that you've won this many championships, there's nothing left to do. Even when he won 6 championships, it was not even championships anymore because he had beat Montana by so much. It was like, okay, now I want to try to play to 45 because that's the next thing to try to tackle.
Yeah. It's funny too because all the playoff games we play and say we were the underdog, everyone would bet against us, and Belichick would put the things over the locker room, they're saying this about you guys, and those types of things drive Brady, and people keep saying to him he's too old, and he's just going to continue to prove everybody wrong, and it's been remarkable to watch, and unfortunately he won't be doing it here for 2 more years.
Yeah, I mean, try telling Tom Brady that, he can't do something, and he's going to show you why he can. He has, over 20 years, done it again and again and again. And, I honestly gained a lot of respect for him in this negotiations. I think if he went back to the Patriots, I would have lost a little respect for him.
I somewhat agree. Yeah,
especially after holding out for all this, the last couple of years, going to the mat and free agency, getting rid of the franchise tag ability, all the things that he did, and distancing himself, and then saying that he wanted to go for a contract that's going to revolutionize the way guys get paid and all this.
Another thing, too, that people don't talk about, with him proving everybody wrong, you could honestly say the 2 years after Deflategate that those are 2 of his, other than 2007, 2 of his better years. So everyone's saying, oh, it's deflated balls. Well, he won a Super Bowl, he beat the Seahawks, and then he beat the Falcons. And then he threw 500 yards against the Eagles at age 40.
Yeah, so it's you need any more tests?
Yeah, exactly. They've been trying
They filled up the ball correctly. He won a Super Bowl, lost in another one, and then won in another one.
It took him to get that far for people to finally accept the fact that he's the greatest of all time. They've always, ESPN's been driving that
to guys like Shannon Sharp and stuff like that. 6 championships.
Peyton Manning's the greatest ever. Peyton Manning is this. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest ever. Give me a freaking break.
That was the worst when Peyton won that championship at the end, too, because you just knew everybody was going to take it and use it as ammo.
Honestly, I think that year Andy Dalton was probably better than Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
he was terrible. I'm happy. Respect the guy, but,
I know. I mean, all he could do was really tell the team to line up correctly and stuff like that. Yeah. They ran the ball well when he was in, but he could not throw.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple weeks. That Belichick has been preparing. He's a very prepared, detail-oriented person. he had to have plan A, plan B. If Brady stays, this is what we're going to do. If he doesn't, this is what we're going to do. And the fact that they haven't even signed a veteran quarterback yet, and all the reports you hear that Stidham they have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, and it seemed like Stidham got a lot of extra work this year, behind the scenes, and all this time where Brady was missing time. Apparently Brady had like a shoulder injury or an elbow injury or something that he missed a lot of time for, and Stidham got a lot of time in backup, in practice.
So the game that Stidham got taken out, I think one of our guys fumbled a punt return, and they scored. And then he didn't. I don't even know if he overthrew the guy. The guy ran the wrong route. We're up 30 to 7. I don't put the blame on Jared Stidham for that, but obviously it's now all of a sudden 30 to 20. Brady obviously doesn't like being sit down. It's I can't lose to the freaking Jets. We're just kicking their ass, and now I have to bring him back in. But they have a lot of faith in him. The preseason, everyone loved him. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but the Patriots like him. So we're going to have to see. I still think they draft another quarterback, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they do it in the first round, though.
Yeah, because Stidham was a 4th rounder, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Auburn.
He was a senior, too. Belichick loves those senior captain guys. So.
Oh, yeah, you got to be a captain.
You have to be a captain. And
just
the only other
Matthew Slater.
The only other way he would have drafted you if you weren't a captain is if you went to Rutgers. Other than that, he'll take you.
Yeah. And I mean, we have a little bit here from Randy Moss also, actually, on destinations and fits for Brady. Talking a little bit about the fit that would be with the Tampa Bay and how he likes the fit with the wide receivers.
Which destination do you think he has the best shot of winning another Super Bowl and could become, like Peyton Manning, the only other quarterback to have a Super Bowl with 2 different teams?
Well, to answer your question, I think the teams that Tom Brady would have a shot winning a Super Bowl already have their franchise quarterback in place. But when I look at a possible landing for Tom, and it's kind of crazy that I'm talking about Tom Brady not being the Patriot quarterback, like you just said, for the rest of his life. But I look at a team like, the teams that I've been hearing, like the Tampa Bay Bucks or maybe the L.A. Chargers. But if you ask me between the two of them, I like the wide receiver core for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tom Brady has always wanted a weapon to have. He had Gronk, he had myself, he had Edelman, Welker, but he needs more than just one guy, and I think Tampa Bay will be a good fit for him.
So there you got it right there from Randy Moss, a guy that would know a thing or two about it, but saying he likes the fit with those 2 wide receivers. And it seems like you like that fit, too, with the wide receivers. You think Godwin is going to be a good fit in the slot?
I think Godwin
and then
easily
easily
gets over 100 catches. He got over 100 this year, and I think he missed the last 2 with James Winston.
Did Godwin really have over 100 catches this year?
I'm pretty sure, right around 100. I don't know. He helped my fantasy team win the league this year. No big deal or anything. But
that's all you took from
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Mike Evans is going to be huge for him, big target on the outside. But the thing is, Brady's not, other than Moss, name a big receiver that he's really succeeded with. The thing is, in the red zone, what was the biggest challenge we had this year? Scoring in the red zone. You didn't have that big target. This year, just lob it up to Evans, he'll catch it. Lob it up to O.J. Howard, he'll catch it.
Oh.
Cameron, even that freaking bum Cameron Brate.
Cameron Brate is still 6'5" or whatever.
And if they bring in Antonio Brown, it could be 07 all over again.
If they bring in Antonio Brown, it's going to be not even fair. I mean, that is going to be straight up Madden.
Yeah, exactly. And good for him. I hope he wins another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess let's talk about some of the guys that ended up leaving the organization. We saw the Pats sign some of Bill's guys and Devin McCourty and Slater. But I think 2 of the moves that were pretty predictable were Jamie Collins goes to Detroit, Kyle Van Noy goes to Miami, a couple of the boogeymen getting sent out. Is there anything more predictable than Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins kind of getting overpaid by a couple old Belichick guys?
I actually I thought Van Noy might stay. There was a chance. Collins not a chance. He was out. And Collins got overpaid, and he'll become a bum just like he was when he got paid again. Van Noy, the thing about Van Noy is he was like a Patriot. You think of the Patriot linebackers like a Bruschi or Vrabel, guys that weren't really supposed to be anything really that great, and then they led the team in tackles and whatnot. He did a very good job for us for a couple years, but he got way overpaid. He's making Hightower money.
Oh, I know.
And that's the thing. Belichick, I mean...
You knew he was going to, too.
You have to think, like, at some point, does Belichick get, like, a Christmas gift from each of these players that he's gotten massive contracts over the years, every year? Like, think about all the players that have been system players for the Pats that have got way overpaid. Oh. And then they have sucked at other places.
And you know Jamie Collins is going to suck in Detroit. And just
he's just going to be miserable. He's living in Detroit. Like, you know, it's you went to Detroit.
I just feel like Kyle Van Noy, we knew he was going to get overpaid by a Belichick understudy. Jamie Collins, kind of the same thing.
So I actually like Flores as a coach. I don't think Patricia's a good coach. Flores, the guys love him down there. Patricia, the guys don't really like him that much. So
well, that's because Patricia's like I don't know. He's like a old-fashioned coach. He tries to be like Belichick, makes his guys sprint in the summer.
Yeah, while he has a freaking cart that he
Big Mac.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fat guy that he can't walk anymore, so he's got a cane and everything. But he's got his guys running sprints. So it's just those two guys leave, then Brady leaves. All within 48 hours. It's a lot to handle. And we haven't really done anything. We franchised Joe Thuney, which Joe Thuney's a good player, but for $14 million, I mean, that's way too much.
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping that they're going to trade, although he's a good player for us, that's just,
It's a little too much there for Thuney.
Between him and Marcus Cannon's making around $10 million this year, and he's over 30, and he didn't have that great of a year last year anyways. I don't know. We're going to have to see how the Pats end up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Belichick would never be okay with a team that tanks.
It feels like they have not done a whole lot so far.
Our defense is Gilmore and who else? And Hightower? That's it.
And McCourty.
Yeah, a 34-year-old McCourty?
Yeah.
35-year-old McCourty?
Well, they just paid at the top of the market. See, I think Bill does have some guys that he takes care of. You can't tell me that he's not taking care of Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater.
The thing that always bothered me about Belichick is he pays like Slater. He's obviously one of the best ever to do it, but he is a punt returner, like guy that gets he's always on there first. He gets millions of dollars. Like when you look at how much we have to spend this year, we have no money. So we've paid all these Nate Ebner gets a contract every year. Nate Ebner's a good player, but come on, he's probably making around $1 million, $2 million. Other teams, they don't pay those guys. And then they have money to spend. How much is Sanu making next year? Like $8 million, $9 million? Edelman's making $10 million.
Sanu's like a week into ankle rehab.
It's...
You following that?
Sanu. Yeah, that was such a great trade. Second-round pick. It'd be nice to have that second-round pick this year.
Rather than a 30-year-old rehabbing his ankle.
Maybe it would have helped to have gotten Emmanuel Sanders for a fourth, but, we traded a second for Sanu.
And then what in God's names were the Texans thinking, trading away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson? I mean, let's go to the phones. Who do we got? You're live on Open Season.
Who we got?
Yeah.
Bill from Hopkinton.
Bill, you are up late. I almost don't believe it. How you doing?
Indeed.
How you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Breaking ESPN News is talking about Brady expected to sign with the Bucks.
Yeah, how does it sit with you?
Well, I wish he wasn't leaving Foxborough, but I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty tough stuff for us here, but I definitely understand it too. I think the Pats kind of jerked him around too long. I think if they were serious on getting him to sign a contract, they would have gotten it done last year or the year before. And I think it kind of hit a point where both sides kind of see greener pastures elsewhere. And I think Brady wants to see if he can win without Belichick, and Belichick wants to see if he can win without Brady.
Yeah, I would agree. They gave him that crappy offer last August, and there really wasn't much discussion since then, other than that they had already, presented what they felt was their best offer to him last August.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was something where it was like, it was something where they they just were never going to come to the table, and I think Brady has made up his mind for a while that he's going to go somewhere else. It's unfortunate. It's kind of like a punch in the gut. You don't think it's going to happen, especially you don't think it's going to happen to a team like Tampa Bay. I thought it would have been something like the Titans or San Diego, but Tampa Bay it is, and I don't know. I guess will you be rooting for Brady when he's on Tampa? You going to invest in some Tampa Bay merchandise, Bill?
I don't know about that. The way the stock market's been performing as a result of the whole COVID-19, I'll be lucky if I can buy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, you must be pushing off retirement now, huh?
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying pushing off retirement with the way that the stocks are. It's got everybody kind of forgetting about ever retiring.
Yeah, no, I was joking when I was saying what's that, meaning what's retirement.
Oh, I got you. Well, hey, anything else?
No, I think we'll just wait and see if it's official, and we'll listen to Stephen A. and all the rest of the ESPN folks tomorrow if there is an official announcement on this.
All the talking heads.
News.
Yeah, I think Adam Schefter said it was official, so it's official enough for me. Does that do it for you?
Well, if Adam Schefter, said it, then it's got to be because he's in the know. He's got the 411 on everything.
Yeah, he does. He does for sure. Well, hey, we appreciate you giving us some 411 tonight on the program, Bill, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, good show, guys. Take care.
All right, thank you.
So, yeah, you were talking about the Houston. Did Bill O'Brien, is he the worst GM in the history of sport and the football?
That guy is just awful. He can never win in a big spot. He's had great talent. He can't do anything. I can't understand why he continues to get more and more power. He's now the GM there, right? He was just the coach, and they elevated him to GM. It's like, well, you've been so good at being mediocre that we're going to make you the GM. I don't get it. And then I just don't get how can you be fighting with the guy that's been the best receiver? I don't even think you can really argue over the last 3 years. The best receiver in football has been DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, him or Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
But agreed. And to trade him
you got to get along with those guys.
You don't trade DeAndre Hopkins without, for a first-round pick at least. You traded him and got a 28-year-old banged-up David Johnson who hasn't been relevant in 2 years. Deshaun Watson must be looking around like, okay, when's my contract coming up? Because I want to get the hell out of here. Bill O'Brien's not leading this freaking... They traded Jadeveon Clowney last year, didn't even get a first-round pick. That franchise is just falling apart.
And Jadeveon Clowney is probably going to get one of the biggest paydays on the market
this year. I thought he was staying in Seattle. He's not even staying there.
Yeah, I guess not, but...
He'll probably go to Miami and get paid and suck. He'll probably go to the Giants and suck.
That is so true. He's going to go to some team, get paid out the ass,
I can see
it.
He's got Jets written all over it.
Oh, my God. That is so true. That is so true. He is such a guy that's
why
like
the Pats have been so good for so long. They don't do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They just let the greatest quarterback ever walk out.
Yeah, they would definitely never sign Cooper to a 5-year, $100 million deal.
No, they learned not signing Adelius Thomas not to do those types of contracts.
Yeah, and then Diggs for a ton of picks. I mean, if I'm the Bills, I do that trade, though. I think that's a pretty decent trade. They've got a young running game. Now they have that quarterback that they believe in. But
So he thought getting passes from Kirk Cousins sucks. Do you know how many times Josh Allen's going to overthrow him next year?
He's going to be lucky if Josh Allen's even in the ballpark.
Oh, my God. Josh Allen's a good quarterback. I mean, he's a good young quarterback. He's getting better. But he is one of the least accurate passers in the NFL. Stephon Diggs is a precision route runner. Josh Allen airballs everybody.
That is true. That is probably not going to be the best fit unless they just have Diggs go deep every time.
He's got a great arm. He can throw it deep. But, I mean, the defense is just going to, put two guys back there, and he's not going to be able to do it.
You got to like what the Bills are doing, though. They're at least taking a swing for the
best team in the
fences.
AFC East, hands down.
Ooh. You like them over the Patriots?
Right now, yes.
The Stidham-led
Yes.
Patriots?
The Bills have a good defense. They are rushing. Like, their defense is good and young. Their offense is getting better. They just got Diggs. You look at the Patriots. Who do we have?
Who do we have? We have signed a couple of our veterans and not done a whole lot left. It hasn't been a great free agency so far for the Patriots, but that is going to do it for us here at Open Season. We have no idea what's going to happen with the coronavirus, and we hope that we'll be back here next week, but we have no idea, so we'll just keep rolling with it, and we hope you'll continue to roll with us. For Brian Murphy producing the show, Justin Allain sitting here in the co-host chair, I'm Billy Allen, and we'll hopefully catch you next week. Take care.
I'm just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Brian Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth.